Well, you know, we've had major problems with Canada on some significant water issues in North Dakota. We've had those problems for years, and now is the time, I think, to finally get them resolved. I want to have four-party talks here in Washington beginning in late September with the Canadians. There's an urgency now. It's finally time for us to sit at a table, all of us, and think through how do we resolve these issues. The NAWS project in North Dakota, the Devil's Lake urgency, the chronic flooding there and the problems it could cause for eastern North Dakota, all of eastern North Dakota and Canada, and also the road being used as a dike, or the dike being called a road. It's time for us to resolve these things. These disputes with Canada have gone on for decades in some cases, and now it's at a point where it is substantially delaying needed projects in North Dakota. The NAWS project needs to get completed. Now they're saying it might be 10 years because of Canadian legal actions. The Devil's Lake circumstances, things have changed dramatically. It's about 6 feet from being able to spill uncontrolled into the Cheyenne, which will then go back up into Canada through the Red, and Canada and eastern North Dakota will both be severely disadvantaged as a result of it. And the dike being called a road that floods North Dakota and keeps Canada dry, you know, we've got to resolve these things. We're good neighbors. We have a good neighbor policy, but on these water issues, we've gone on for years in many cases and decades in some others and never gotten them resolved. My point is simple. I think it's time, now it's past the time, to sit down in four-party talks here in Washington, D.C. and begin to resolve these issues between the U.S. and Canada. We don't have any interest in hurting Canada. Canada doesn't have any interest in hurting us. Let's find a way to resolve these issues in the interests of both countries. So I've been speaking to the Canadian ambassador to the U.S. ambassador to Canada. I've talked to the Premier of Canada. I've talked to Secretary of State Clinton. All of them, you know, I think are people of good faith, and yet, you know, we don't have real talks going on that can relate to the compromises necessary. Let's get this done, and now's the time to do it. As chairman of the Energy and Water Committee, I've been funding all of these water projects and flood control projects, not just in North Dakota, but around the country. But now in North Dakota, we're becoming stymied by the inability to move forward, and that is not a solution anymore. We've got to resolve these issues.